Hey guys, welcome to the video and thank you for being here. I'm just gonna explain briefly what's going on. And in this video, I'm just tackling the fuel system, the throttle body and injection rail, the injectors itself. And I'm gonna clean the whole process with carb cleaner. So first we need to dismantle it. As you can see, there are a few bolts to remove, a few electrical connectors that go to the injection rail, and one of the throttle body sensor, and of the of the fuel intake. So you need to remove these, a couple of bolts, and then you can remove the whole system. Just be aware you drop nothing in the intake, in the engine intake. But it's actually a fairly straight ahead process. You shouldn't encounter any problems. And the most important moment to do this kind of job is not on a cycle. It's not a maintenance cycle. It's, in my case, the bike has been standing a long time with fuel in the system. Then you should do this. Or you have a lot of fuel system issues with shaking bike when you use the throttle, like we had this problem with carburetors, or you can have it now with nasty fuel. If you tank in a region that is pretty remote and the fuel pump is not used a lot and you didn't have a filter, it could be you have a lot of nasty grit in your fuel system. So that's also a reason. If you feel like you go on the gas and the engine is stalling or it's not going smooth, could be fuel related problem. So these are like the only two reasons I can think of that you should do this kind of job. So in a minute I will start on the bench and clean up the whole system. So I hope you learn something from this and have a good time, and see you guys later. Wow, it's also tight, but it seems like most sensors are actually loose now, and I'm happy. Now I think I should be able to here we go. Yeah, as you can see, this is the inside. They look pretty nice, huh? So very nice. I'll try and show you. Here we go. Yeah, now you can see it. I'm trying. You can see the valve. These are the intake valves. Okay, what I'm gonna do is the old trick. I'm just gonna make a double one. Yeah, try and get it in there and just push it easy. Just push it in there first till it's seated home. You feel it when it's there. Okay. Just push it in all angles where you can. Okay. Give it nice tight. Yes. As you can see, it has a seal as well. I'm just gonna clean it up a bit, but it seems really good, really good. Should something fall in, then it doesn't fall really in the engine, but here it stays. So the next thing is the fuel rail. There is a hose here, as you can see, and then I disconnected everything. So it's just this one. I just need to check how it is installed. I see one bolt here, I think one bolt here, and that's it. It's very easy. Yeah, it's good. So your fuel injectors are just in there. You have these clamps, they hold them together, but I'm gonna remove them. But they're in there with a rubber seal. I just want to check them. So you should be able to just pull them out. Wow. Here we go. Wow. Very nice. You can see, I don't know if you can see it, the small gaps in there on the nozzle. And I can also see that everything seems really good from the start. So I have some carb cleaner, Motul, just basic carb cleaner. I'm just gonna use this for all the internal systems. That's it. The rest I'll clean with WD-40 or brake cleaner. But what I mean by that is this, the internals, yeah, it's just way more active. And then this one as well. I'm gonna remove these and test them. And this hose I'm gonna spray as well. Some soak a bit. This one, the best thing you can do, excuse me, is push on this, push on this. They're very snug, and it helps if you, sometimes it helps if you just push them first, and then, here we go. This one the same, just put some carb cleaner in there. This is the hose that delivers the fuel from the fuel tank.
to the injection rail. It seems fine. Just let it, I'm just gonna put a little bit in again and then leave it. If it doesn't go, then I leave it. I'm just gonna spray in here a bit when the fuel injectors are gone. So these have a special clamp. You can see this one, and this is just to open it here and here. Voila, and you remove it. And then you should be able to get them out. Maybe they're a bit cooked. They've been sitting in fuel for a few years, so here we go. One. So I should mark them. Just gonna put one here. And one in the fuel injector. And then a 2, a 2, and a 3, a 3. 2, 2, and 3. You see that the fuel is now coming. You can see it here, it's running out, so it's already something. Best thing is turn them. Fucking hell, they're really good in there. See how many markings it has. 1, 2, 3. Just let it soak in for some time. It is a good sign when it, I see it running. Well, it's okay. So I'm just gonna clean them a little bit. That's number 2. So it's just the outside. because there's a solenoid in it. You can really feel it. It's a spool, we call it. So electrical wire. The moment you a magnet, a relay, the moment you put voltage across it, and it gets the signal from the throttle, and you have a throttle sensor, and you have an air sensor and a fuel mixture, and then it gets a signal and it opens. Yeah, so you should not start opening it, just leave it, but we can clean it, and I'll show it in a minute. They say rubber deteriorates after about 15 years. This is 12 years old, maybe 12 and a bit, and they really are okay. We'll see in time, in a few years, you know, but it's okay. They're so specially treated now with with silicons and chemicals, so really goes it's really decent for for the time it's been working, and more especially standing. This bike has been standing 3 years, it's been written 5, and it's been standing another 4 or something. So, but yeah, good quality. That's Triumph. It's good quality. You cannot discuss. This is very good. It's Kaihin or something, if I pronounce it right. If you can see it. Very nice. Throttle position sensor. And this is a motor, a small motor, that actually controls the idle. It's a stepper motor, that means it has gears inside. Not only coils, but also gears, and the gears can take higher loads. So it's really nice. It will regulate electronically your idle. Really good. Goes to the ECU, and then from there on, it's connected with all the other information with a CAN bus system. A totem ring, I think it is. Pretty decent, pretty old, but very simple. So very nice. Okay, next step is spraying the inside of the injectors. So for that you need a voltage, to apply a voltage. I have in here an old power supply. It's a 300 watt power supply, and it's working barely, but it is working. It's from an old PC. I really recommend, if you have like one laying somewhere, or you can see it in a scrapyard, take it, pick the cables, and then you can you have a 3 voltage, a 5 voltage, and a 12 voltage. So in this one, the red one is 12, so the black one is your return or your neutral, which closes the circuit. Then the orange one is 5 volts, the yellow one is 3 volts, and the red one is 12. So I built up from 3 volts, and I could not hear the relay of the injector moving in, working. Then I went to 5 volts, and it did work. So and I'm going to show you how you clean the injectors. Okay, so I'll also show you with the multimeter how it goes. So if you want to know how a multimeter works, there are plenty of videos online. There are plenty of videos online if you want to know how this works, but you should always check your standings. Yeah, this one is voltage, and then your com, and then your this one is for amps. What you do is when you measure resistance, you have to shut down the circuit. There is no voltage, and you measure the internal resistance of a certain component. It can be a heater, can be anything. When you do a voltage, you measure over the circuit. You have to have power in the circuit. And then when you measure amps, you measure in the circuit. Okay, just 1,000 videos online, but just so you know, now I'm measuring voltage. It is on the voltage. It is DC power, which is important. So I'm just going to show you that there is 5 volts attached to it, some crocodile clamps. Wow. Okay. So also know this one is the positive, because if I do the other one, it doesn't make it. There's no difference in DC. I'm going to measure -5. Okay. It's the same. So I'm going to apply this, and you're going to hear that it's going to tick. It's still running. You have to be careful because there's something wrong in the power supply. Sometimes the voltage is, yeah, it just doesn't work. I'm going to hear it clicking. I'm going to be silent. Okay, just going to move you in a bit. Try and move you in a bit closer so you can hear it. That's the relay. Yeah? That is powered on. So you have we have now an engaged injector. So normally when I spray, it should go through it. Oh yeah, there's one thing I should do. I nearly forgot. Is create some kind of vacuum here. You can do it with Scottish tape. This hole needs to be closed, otherwise it's going out. It needs to be forced through it. So I just keep on rolling until I have like a cone that's fairly closing it. And I'm almost there. See how it goes. I can live with that. I'm going to apply power. Voila. It should be okay now. Voila. First one wasn't that clear, but now you can see the nozzle. Seems like a nice spray. Just give it a few squeaks. Fairly happy with that. Voila. Just gonna let that run, get it hot so the moist gets out. And then in a minute I'm just gonna use some air and clean it up. It's gonna be nice. Okay, I'm gonna clean the injectors now with some air. Don't make it too crazy. Yeah. Just gonna power them again. Get a little bit of air through it. Not a lot. So all the dirt's really out of it. That's the first one. So you apply it back in the fuel rail. You will see that this must be seated here. Okay, like that. No, sorry, it is like yeah, it is. I'm sorry, it is like this, and this one goes in the back. Yeah, I was confused. Sorry. Just flip it in there. It's gonna be a little bit tight because the seal is dry. It should be dry. You can use a bit of fuel, but you should be able to force it in there. Okay. It should be solid as a rock. Voila. So the next one. Last one. Back on the fuel rail. If it goes too easy, then you know that that seal is not working. You should be able to get it on, but it should not be too easy. Seems logic because I can't tell how many pressure there is because it is not stated in manual, and it is fairly high pressure, but it is of course bolted, so it is solid from here and from there. But basically, Triumph says if you want to test these, then you have to get the data tool on the bike and get a readout, a diagnosis. But I don't have it. It costs a lot of money, and it's also every year you have to pay a subscription of 2,500 euros. So it's only for professionals. This is like a cheap way to do it. You only need a power supply, also batteries. It's 5 volts. You need 5 volts or 6 volts. We'll be able to do. And then you can do what I did. Okay. So next thing is applying it back on the bike, and nice, to the other job. So this one's installed. As you can see, you can't forget the clamps. You put them on first. Sorry I didn't film it. I was like, I'm not gonna film the whole process, but then I thought I can speed it up. But they're already in there. So it's basically, I took some spit, from my tongue, and then I did around the orange bushings, and you just push them in evenly, just like this. Push a bit here, and they will slide in. Okay, so they're really nice now. And then this hose is attached again,
You can see this will go to the fuel tank. This is your feed. Okay, so the rest of the process I will just film quickly. The next thing is these three, of course. Make sure there's no cables in between. Okay, and just verify how you seat them on. This is the right place, but this one is not. Okay, I can still remember that it was like that. So you have to be able to get a grip on them, to get to the heads, which is important. Otherwise, you cannot get the throttle body in its place. So I have these screws. I only need 2 of them. Watch it that they don't fall down here. That would you need a magnet then to take them out. I had it once. I dropped a bolt when I was doing what's it called, the shims of the valves, and I dropped the bolt here down. I could catch it with a magnet. Otherwise, I had to strip the whole bike. You don't want that. Here we go. Just have to be sure you tie them up. Just against metal on metal is okay. Voila. Check this one again. Wow. Don't go too far. With your thumbs is okay. Unless you only weigh 5 kilograms and you use your arm or your hand. But put these in the right condition. Can we put this here? I can't imagine if it's Triumph who did this, but it seems like they did. So you just need to make sure that the lip is all sealed, so you don't get false air in there, which is also contaminated with dust and all that shit you don't want in your engine. You don't. Okay, just get it back in there and play around until it works. Same if it gives you a hard time, use a little bit of spit, it really helps. Here we go, this one. This one is always the hardest one, I think. Okay, the cables. I think the second one is also in there. Yes, the third one almost. Need to have my rubber mallet. Let's give it a hit. Needs to be in there. Voila. All the way. Yes, so that's good. These are already back in place, and this goes to the air filters. voila, that won't go back. And it'll be seated as well with, here comes the air filter box. So, yeah. Very nice. I'm getting there. Busy day. And it's off the jack. So, voila, so done again. Fuel system, just make sure that you don't overpower the injectors, and that's it. All the rest is straightforward. Any questions, let me know, and normally I think, yeah, we'll get there. Two major jobs to do, and it's looking very good. So thanks a lot for watching and subscribing and supporting, whatever. Peace, man.